Thank you for joining me in today's story. Today's story is from a nurse named Amy. Amy shares her traumatic experience with letting a stranger stay in her home. This is Amy's story. I was driving home from work one day when I saw a hitchhiker on the side of the road. He was wearing a hooded sweatshirt and jeans, and he had a backpack. He looked harmless, so I decided to give him a ride. I pulled over and rolled down my window. He thanked me and he got in the car. He told me his name was Jake and he was heading to the next town over. He said he'd been hiking and camping out for a few days and he needed a place to stay and asked for recommendations. I told him my name was Amy and I lived in the next town. I offered to let him stay at my place since I had a spare room. He accepted and thanked me again. He seemed nice and friendly, so I didn't think much of it. We chatted for a while and he told me about his travels and adventures. He said he'd been to many places and seen many things. He said he loved nature and freedom. He said he had no family or friends and he preferred it that way. He said he liked meeting new people and learning from them. He asked me about myself and I told him I was a nurse at a local hospital. I said I liked my job in helping people. I told him I had a boyfriend, but we were having some problems. I said I was thinking of breaking up with him, but I wasn't sure. He listened and he nodded and he said he understood. He said he'd been in love once, but it didn't work out. He said he had learned to let it go and move on. He said he had no regrets and he was happy with his life. We arrived at my place and I parked the car. I invited him in and he followed me. I showed him the spare room and he put his backpack on the bed. He said he was tired and asked if he could take a shower. I said he could use the bathroom and I gave him a towel. He thanked me and went into the bathroom. I went to the kitchen and made some dinner. I waited for him to come out, but he never did. I knocked on the door, but he didn't answer. I opened the door and I saw him lying on the floor. He was dead. He had slit his wrist with a razor blade. There was blood everywhere. There was a note on the sink, and it said, "Dear Amy, thank you for your kindness and hospitality. You are a wonderful person, and I am glad I met you. You remind me of someone I used to love, someone who broke my heart. I couldn't bear the pain anymore, so I decided to end it. I'm sorry for the mess, and I hope you forgive me. Please don't blame yourself. It's not your fault. It's mine. I hope you find happiness and peace in your life. Goodbye. Jake." I screamed and dropped the note. I ran out of the bathroom and I called 911 immediately. I was in shock and disbelief. I couldn't understand why he did it, why he chose me, why he left me with this horror. I later found that his real name was not Jake, but David. David was a serial killer who had escaped from a mental hospital. He had killed several people before me, all women who looked like his ex-girlfriend. He had been hunting for her, but he never found her. He had been suicidal, but he never had the courage to do it. He'd been waiting for someone to help him, someone to kill him. He had been waiting for me.